to us, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
I was hearing about Korean entertainment recently. So
Yes.
I guess the long story is Korea invested in some infrastructure in their country. And they made, I forget, like their chief exports were, I forgot. But they made a conscious decision, like, you know what? I think we could do entertainment. And a couple of years ago, the government invested in their entertainment industry. And if you think about it, in terms of like exporting your own culture, South Korea definitely punches above its weight class. You know, with the K-pop was one of the big things they got done.
That's true.
It goes all the way back to like Gangnam Style was one of their early things.
First there was video to hit 1 billion.
What was the movie that won an Oscar?
Parasite.
Thank you. Yeah,
fantastic movie, by the way.
I haven't seen it, but I know that a South Korean movie won an Oscar. I think it was Best Picture as well. And now Squid Game, another South Korean production, is the most viewed thing ever in all of Netflix history.
It's the best thing on, well, until, Ozark is Netflix, right?
Yes.
Okay, well then it's my second favorite Netflix original ever. I really liked Squid Game a ton. Ozark still takes it from me as far as number one. It's such a good show. I cannot ever remember the name of the number one actor in that, but I love that guy. He's
Justin
so
Bateman?
fucking good.
Am I right?
Is it Justin Bateman?
Jason?
Jason Bateman?
Jason Bateman.
Whatever. That guy's
I
great.
did the alley-oop.
But
Who was that guy from
Don't Stay Home Alone.
Who was that fella from Home Alone?
Macaulay Culkin. I'm gonna be getting that one from now on until eternity.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Squid Game is great. Have you watched it, Tucker?
So that's why I am currently, I have just finished the second game, not to spoil it with anyone. And I am eagerly looking forward to the rest of the episodes. I like it. I went in late, right? Obviously. But I think that I had very low expectations regardless, because the premise of it is not a very new one, but I'm liking it so far. And the actors are really, really good.
No spoilers. The idea is that if you play these deadly children's games, then you can, all your financial problems be solved. You win lots and lots of money.
It was if you play this children game and nobody knew it was deadly until they were actively playing the first game, and it was deadly.
True.
They handled that first game so poorly.
The guy that wrote it, like, it wasn't a big stretch. He was broke. He was so super broke that as he was writing the they don't call it a script, the play. Anyway, as he was writing the thing, he had to stop because he sold his laptop for like food money. And then he got another laptop later and continued on with his writing. It went for years and nobody bought it. They all thought it was way too gruesome and they weren't interested in it. But Netflix,
I mean, it is a really pretty fucking dark idea.
Yeah, Netflix wanted to get into this market though. Like, they were actively trying to get into Korea for some reason, and
for good reason, clearly.
Yeah, it turned out to be a really smart idea, but it wasn't because of getting into Korea, right? Like, so I guess Korean humor is way different. Like, they watch The Office, they called this out in particular, and it sucks. They don't, like, we see a tyrannical boss with the heart of gold. All they see is a tyrannical boss who's very much like their own bosses. That's what they said.
They see someone who's inept.
Yeah. I don't think of him as tyrannical, but that's what the podcast I watched kept calling it. Anyway, American humor doesn't do well in Korea at all. And so they needed like a Korean play, and they decided to make this South Korean thing and make it into reality. And Squid Game, nobody was buying it, but they had to change it. I guess the games were too complicated, and I'm glad they were simple. I think it's not a spoiler to this to say that at one point they played marbles, and the rules were, I put marbles in my hand, you guess odd or even. I get it. I don't know what the original rules were behind these marble games, but all of the games, they simplified them greatly so that you get it right away.
Yeah, so. It was funny, like, throughout the series where, like, you can tell there's exposition added for the American audience, where, like, if it were made in Korea, they'd be like, oh, you remember playing Wang Wang? Like, or whatever, and no explanation needed. But, like, there has to be so much, like, you remember as a child playing Jing Wang. You know, the game where you hold a marble and you guess what is inside. And if it is odd, and it is odd in the hand, you win. But if it's even, then you lose. And it's like, okay, well, people don't talk like this, but now I understand the game.
Yeah,
I'm understanding what's happening.
So
it's great. I'm looking forward to it for you, Tucker, because you're gonna like it if you like what you've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a like it. I like it when things. I like the juxtaposition between the kids' game and how just absurd everything is, and also how like somebody who was watching with I was like, okay, so what happens when they what happens if they go back to normal life? Like how do they deal with people like 200 people fucking dying, and then they're like they have an island. Like, do you see how big this operation is? Like, okay, yeah, it makes sense. You know, honestly, like, she's like, you know how many missing women there are in the U.S. every year? And I'm like, okay, yeah, all of this makes a lot of sense. Yeah, fuck it. 200 people disappeared into the night and they're, you know, all gambling addicts. Great. This all makes sense to me. So I'm stoked on it. It should be good.
It is
good. Yeah.
So I want to, I think Woody and I are going to eat our edibles. I wanted to wait until I already read the ads before I did. So
you read
I will
the
do
ads
that real quick.